What's going on, everyone? It's the US Open all over again. Roger Federer, one match away from setting up a meeting with Novak Djokovic, and he gets upset. This time, it was to Borna Coric, a 6-4, 6-4 victory for the Croat. He said he played one of the best matches of his life. It's actually his second win over Roger Federer this season. He beat him in Stuttgart as well. Not a lot of ebbs and flows in this match. It's really Coric getting the better of Federer throughout, pretty consistently. In about an hour and a half, if I'm not mistaken. I'm actually just guessing there. So let's get into it. 5 reasons why Borna Coric beat Roger Federer in Shanghai. Number 5 is offense-defense, and this comes down to intention. But really, it's just about how a Roger Federer match needs to be played if Federer wants to win. And it was Coric taking the offensive more, if not the same amount, as Federer. And it's not that whoever's the more offensive player wins the tennis match. That's not how tennis works at all. But if Roger Federer's in the match, he's definitely going to want to be the man in charge of the play. And when Federer needs to control matches, he's not going to, against a really good baseliner like Coric, he's not trying to play a lot of defense. He's not trying to play a lot of long neutral rallies. He's trying to be in the driver's seat, and he wasn't. Winners were equal. And when Federer plays Coric, winners should not be equal. Winners should only be equal when Federer plays a guy who's definitely going to make more errors than Roger Federer, and Coric isn't that guy. Coric is a good all-around baseliner, but a good mover, a pretty defensive, kind of grinded-out-like player in the modern sense. So the construct of the rallies were not correct for Roger. And I think that the next 4 reasons that I'm going to go through will kind of explain why that was. So how come Roger Federer was not dictating as much as he needs to? I think some of the reasons coming up will start to explain that. But number 4 is Coric Focus. Most important part of a best-of-3 set tennis match, arguably a best-of-5 set tennis match as well, is the beginning of the second set. Because when you close out a set, when you have that service game at 5-4, you get a lot of adrenaline going, a lot of nerves going, and when you close it out, and when you release that energy, and you've just won the set that you worked really, really hard to win, it's very easy to relax, but it's also the most important part of the match, so you can't relax, and Coric didn't. I've said it before many times, I love Coric's mental. So this is another example of Borna Coric peaking at the right time. He broke Federer the first game of the second set, and Federer didn't have that bad a service game. It was really a tremendous return game by Coric in that first game of the second set. And then also closing the match out. No problems there for Coric whatsoever. He was rock solid. Number 3, the Federer backhand. I thought that was kind of the weak point off the ground, and I gotta say, it kind of surprises me because I feel like the backhand's been a little bit more consistent than the forehand this year. But in this match, it felt like the backhand was lagging, and he did make a lot of errors on that side. I saw the number was like 18 in the second set or something like that. Apologies for not having exact stats, but the errors were a bit high. But even worse than that was, I feel like he was leaving a lot of backhands in the middle of the court. And that goes back to reason number 5, the intention, the offense-defense ratio. Roger was really just not putting the ball in very good spots very often. And I'm going to get to Coric's placement in a second. Oh, it's actually the next one. So allow me to go to the next one. Number 2 is kill zone. And this, I noticed in a lot of the rallies, it was Federer kind of dropping the ball in what some people call the kill zone, what some people call the danger zone, what some people call the donut hole. There are many names for it, but it's the middle of the court. And it was in stark contrast to what Coric was able to do. Coric's ability to keep it out of the middle of the court was absolutely absurd in this match. I mean, this is insane because this red box is not kind at all. It's about 3 feet away from the sideline. So, that's a pretty big danger zone. And Coric was able to keep it out of there 42% of the time. That's absolutely absurd. I thought that the reason Federer was playing a lot of defense was a lot about ball placement and Federer leaving the ball in the middle of the court. And Coric's ground strokes, the nature of Coric's ground strokes, his forehand is very long, long swing. So when he gets his feet set, when he has time, he hits it really well. You have to rush it. You got to put him on the run. When you put Coric on the run on his forehand side, it's a little bit rushed because it's such a long swing. But when Federer leaves the ball in the middle of the court, that's when Coric can really get his feet set and take that long swing, and it doesn't really hurt him from a technical perspective. The backhand's rock solid regardless of if he's on the run, if he's in the middle of the court. But I really thought Federer didn't do a good job of keeping it out of the middle. And Coric, it was a little bit Djokovic-esque, how he was able to hit with really good depth and hit really close to the lines very, very often. Okay, let's go to number 1, serving. And once again, why is Federer not playing as much offense as he'd like? How about the way the points are starting? Federer needs to outserve Borna Coric, and he didn't. Coric made close to 80% first serves, which is insane. So that's tough. Federer was under 60. I think he was around, late in the second set, he was around 58%. Just didn't get much out of his serve. Coric got a lot out of his serve. Coric had more unreturned serves than Roger Federer. Coric forced more. And that's got to be flipped. That's got to be the other way. Once again, we're not talking about a match against a Milos Raonic or a Berdych, Del Potro, Isner, Karlovic, right? Like, Federer needs to win the serve battle against Borna Coric. He's the baseline variance between these two are too close. Now, Federer should be better, but it's still too close. You got to win the serve battle if you're Federer. What's very strange about this, and I'll zoom out here a little bit. What's very strange about this is because after Coric beat Federer in Stuttgart, I'm a huge fan of Borna Coric, but I said 2 things Coric did in this match are way better than usual. His forehand and his serve. Coric was crushing his serve at a high percentage and crushing his forehand at a really high percentage in Stuttgart. And I'm like, Coric doesn't normally hit those shots as well as he did. So that was a bit of kind of an outlier. And then remember, they were supposed to meet in Wimbledon, so I'm saying, don't worry, it's not going to happen again because Coric will regress in those 2 areas. And then once again in this match, I thought the same 2 shots. Now his backhand, Coric's backhand is beautiful. It's a fantastic shot. His forehand's probably the weakness of his game, in my opinion. It's certainly not his athleticism, his movement, his mental. I'd say it's his forehand, especially when you rush it, when you put him on the run on his forehand side, when you make him generate with his forehand. Well, I don't know about that, but I think it's his forehand. But in this match, it wasn't a weakness. And then the serve was outstanding, where Coric has kind of an average serve, but you wouldn't be able to tell from the Stuttgart match and the Shanghai match. So Coric needs to bring this a little bit more consistently, because for some reason he's played 2 impeccable matches against Federer in terms of his serving and his forehand, and that's just not the consistent Borna Coric that we're used to seeing. Those 2 shots aren't as good as we've seen them in these 2 matches. So hopefully he can give Djokovic a run for his money in the final. I wouldn't be surprised if he can't, and quite frankly, I don't know if anyone can beat Djokovic the way he's playing right now. I'll have a video after the final for you. I don't know if it's going to be Sunday. I don't know if it's going to be Monday. Regardless, hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe. Where's my Monday match analysis? There it is. I'll see you next time.